The cat had never once slept in the nursery. She slept in the kitchen for 4 years. On a Sunday night, she walked into the nursery and positioned herself between the baby's face and the window. And she stayed there for 14 nights before anyone understood what she was doing. Orange cats have their own logic. Everyone who owns one knows this. Margarita Vasquez had owned Cleo for 4 years and had developed in that time a working familiarity with Cleo's logic. She was a cat who sat in warm places, avoided drafts, and had specific opinions about which surfaces were acceptable. She was not a nursery cat. She had been uninterested in the nursery in the weeks before baby Sofía arrived, and she had been uninterested in it in the first 4 weeks after. On Sunday of the 5th week, she walked into the nursery at 9 p.m. and lay between Sofía's face and the window, not at the foot of the crib, between the baby's head and the window. Her body oriented with her back to the window, face toward the baby. Margarita moved her. Cleo returned to the same position. Margarita's husband, Rodrigo, said, "She wants to be in there now." Margarita said, "She's never wanted to be in there." He said, "Cats change." She moved Cleo again the second night, third night. Cleo returned each time and took the same position, back to window, face to baby. On night 7, Margarita sat in the nursing chair at 3 a.m. and watched. Cleo was in position. Sofía was sleeping. The night was quiet. Margarita put her hand to the window from inside the crib's side. Cold. The window was cold at the inner surface, which was not unusual for November. But the air at the level of Sofía's head was cold. Not room cold. Draft cold. She felt a movement of air against her palm that was not room circulation. She ran her finger along the window seal. At the lower right corner of the window frame, the seal had failed. A thin gap, perhaps 3 millimeters, invisible to the eye. The kind of gap that is filled with standard caulk that shrinks over years of seasonal expansion and contraction until it is no longer sealing. The gap produced a steady infiltration of November air directly into the space at Sofía's head level. Cleo had been blocking it with her body. The gap was sealed the following day. Margarita had it done professionally. The full window perimeter caulked and inspected. The technician found the original gap and 2 others in early stages. Dr. Tomas Rivera, their pediatrician, told them at Sofía's 6-week appointment, sustained cold air exposure to an infant's head during sleep affects thermoregulatory efficiency. A 5-week-old has limited capacity to compensate for localized cold exposure. Extended exposure through the sleeping period has documented effects on sleep quality, metabolic stress, and immune response. He said, "How long was the gap there?" They didn't know. The caulk age and shrinkage suggested months, possibly since before Sofía was born. Has a pet ever blocked or positioned themselves at a specific location in your baby's room in a way that turned out to have a physical explanation? Tell us in the comments. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Cleo slept in the kitchen the night after the window was sealed. She has not returned to the nursery at night since. Margarita thinks about her own hand against the window. How she had put it there only after watching Cleo for 7 nights and asking herself, why specifically that position? Why specifically back to window? The gap was 3 millimeters. Her eyes could not have found it. An orange cat found it on the first night and kept her back to it for 14 days. Next, the large white Pyrenees who began lying specifically in the path between the front door and the baby's room. And why the locksmith who finally came said the dog had been right to guard that path.